Hi there, Robin here from Expert On. Today we're going to be comparing 12-inch speakers versus 15-inch speakers and what size is best for you. Now, this is a tough one because it all comes down to how you're going to be using it, and we're going to try and bust some of the myths out there that and make reference to if you have a subwoofer, buy this one. If you don't have a subwoofer, buy that one. So here we go. What I have here with me today is the Electro-Voice ZLX-12P and the 15P. Now, on their spec sheets, which I took from their website and made some notes about today, they say 126 dB. Then they say 127 dB. They measure that at pink noise, which basically means listen to a rainstorm outside. That's pink noise. If you're not sure, Google it later, watch a YouTube video. That's what pink noise is. Now, they also talk about max SPL. That's the sound pressure. That's the measurement on which the environment is done. And it's also noted that it's from 1 meter away. Now, I'm not picking on any brand in specific. They all do this in one shape or another. General rule of thumb for me sound testing it here and taking a meter and putting it out there, I'm going to say a general overall, so don't hold me to this, but it's general. At 30 feet away, like we're going to do today, this one here is normally about twice as loud. Now, it doesn't feel twice as loud, but by the meter, the dB meter, it's twice as loud. So we did sound tests using these specific speakers today because I have the 12 and the 15 available to me, and they're identical, and they're as close identical on specs as you're going to get. They're not saying at 1 meter that this is twice as loud as this. They're saying it's only 50% louder than this one based on their numbers. So it was a good point of reference. Okay, so we've got them set up all the way back there. So what do we have? We have the Electro-Voice. Now, this could have been any of the other brands as well, but I wanted to do a comparison of two very similar products. And in this case, I chose a very popular Electro-Voice ZLX-12P and the ZLX-15P. Now, both of them have a rating. They just put 1,000 watts out there for the chipset inside of it. Now, remember, we've talked about all different ways a 12-inch and a 15-inch vary, and it mostly has to do with distance versus everything else. Now, there is some performance issues and bass issues. I did do some meter testing with it, and right now, on a test pattern, just for an actual background noise, you've got 100 dBs within 3 feet or 1 meter from the 15P, and we're getting 98 dB 1 meter away or 3 feet from the 12P, and that's just set straight up at 12 o'clock, nothing fancy, factory defaults, no bass and treble added to the speaker, and the settings are set for music mode because that's what they defaulted. So we're going to use that. We're going to play 3 or 4 different soundtracks. Now, remember, when the light's on, that's the speaker you're listening to. On the left side, you've got the 15P. On the right side, we've got the 12P. If you're planning on getting a subwoofer, which is what everybody's always thinking about, and what everybody says, well, if you're getting a subwoofer, get a 12. If you're not planning on getting a subwoofer, get a 15. I'd probably change that to listen to the type of music you like to play and you plan on playing. Now, if you're a DJ and you do weddings and the stuff you play is 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, classic stuff, then you're probably not going to need a subwoofer. But you now have to think about how big the space is going to be. Now, if you're doing weddings for 100 to 200 people, that's great. Either one of these type of speakers will PA the entire space. So you're in a hall and you need to talk to everybody because, well, you're the MC. That's what you're going to do. You're going to MC the whole crowd. You can do that with either one of these speakers. That's not a problem. It'll fill the space all the way to the back and everybody will have no problem hearing you, and you're not going to make anybody deaf if they're right in front of the speaker. That's the easy part. Now you have to take the exact same speaker system and use it for the dance floor. This is where the number comes into. Most of the time you're going to have 50 to 75 people on the dance floor if you're doing a wedding between 100 and 200 people. Now your dance floor is going to vary between anywhere from, let's say, 24 feet square to maybe 36 feet square. That's the magic number right there. Now, if you're on a 24 by 24, this guy is going to carry that space, no problem. If you're in a 36 by 36 dance floor, then this guy is going to carry that space better. And the idea is, how loud is it at the back of the dance floor? Not at the front. At the front, it's going to be just like they say in their specs. It's going to be really loud. So how's it going to do in the back? That's what's going to be the difference between here and here. Now, when they do a dB test, it's pink noise, it's across the whole board. And this specific speaker, when you're in this price point, they're playing it at max volume and it's going to carry. When you're playing music overall, that's where it's going to vary. The bass is going to differ and all of that. Now you say, okay, well, when do I get a subwoofer? Well, look at the music you're playing. If you're not sure, look at it on software, have a meter bouncing along so this way you can take a look at it. If you've got a lot of activity down below 200 hertz, you're going to want a subwoofer. If you're more of a specialty DJ or your music is very, this is what I do, this is my job. And again, you should be looking at your music, and your music's going to tell you if you need a subwoofer or not. So that's the big difference. I'm not going to say it's size. Size is for space. It's like you go to a concert, there's a line array hanging from the ceiling on trusses, and there's 15 speakers on each side or 20 speakers on each side. That's because there's 50,000 people there. Same premise. Just so you know, from here you can get larger and larger and larger, and speakers don't get bigger, they just get more powerful. So a speaker style is going to change, and the horn's going to change, and the amp's going to change. There's always bells and whistles and features and all of that, but that is really what you're going to go for. So when you go from something like this, in the start price point, $400 to $500, that sort of thing, you're going to climb up, you're going to double the price, and you're going to go from, they're rating this at 1,000 watts, but they're very general about that. Then they go to 1,500 watts. They've got, that's going to be somewhere between $800 and $1,000. dB level goes to 132. They're basically saying we're going to double the volume for you. Then you're going to go to their flagship series, ETX in this case, and they go to 2,000 watts. And guess what? They're up to 135 dB. So, again, they're going to double that volume for you. So why is that important? You got more people at the wedding. You're DJing at a higher class. You're going from, I do parties for 150 people to 200 people. I now plan on doing 300 to 500 people. That's why you get into a larger size system. If we were to put this on pickup trucks, it's the difference between going out and buying an F-150 and buying an F-350 or 250. Depends on what you're going to be using it for. So you could get too big if you're never going to do 500 people. Then it's great to say, oh, you have an ETX series, or you've got a flagship product from one of the manufacturers. That's awesome. But if you're always doing between 50 and 150, or you just don't want to carry all that extra weight with you, that's where a product like this comes into play. So, but it's not necessarily about which series, which brand you buy, but what kind of music you plan on playing. So there are lots of great companies, and lots of great companies do like Electro Voice do on this particular line and all their other lines. So if you're looking for more detail, not just about this particular brands here, but any other brands that you may be looking for, have a look at the link up above. That's going to be for our playlist that goes to all of our powered speakers. Now we also do mixers and everything else, but if you want more details about how all the features work on a particular speaker, like this Electro Voice, or any of the brands like, let's say, JBL, Mackeys, or Altos, you'll find all that on our playlist or on our channel. Today with powered speakers, you get a combination of really great engineering, great design work, all put into one box. So it's not simply how much power do they have. It also incorporates their DSP. DSP is kind of a system that makes your car very smart, if we were making a car reference. It's what allows you to have traction control and all that kind of other bells and whistles that make your car more powerful than a car 25 years ago with the same amount of horsepower. That's what's going on here. But at the same time, they also incorporate an active crossover. Now that's a system that allows it to manage the power between the bottom and the top and how it's going to get louder and louder and louder. Think of that as your ABS brakes. It helps you stop after you pump all that energy into it. So it keeps it going, and it allows you to get more volume out of a speaker than you normally would if you had a passive and an amplifier, because then you have to kind of figure that out. So That's what's going on here. That's the differences between getting a 12 and a 15. I'm going to put it more to the size of the dance floor or to how big your outdoor space is, because remember, it's like wearing a set of headphones. They sound really loud to you because you've got them on, but when you take them off, it doesn't take very long as you take them off your head that sound goes away. So that's the difference between size. Now remember, power is important, but it's not the sole factor in determining which speaker is right for you. So again, if you're looking at adding a subwoofer and you're thinking, well, should I get a subwoofer, shouldn't I? Again, look at your music with a meter, so this way you can see all those little jumping lines on it. And if you've got a lot of activity down at the bottom where the bass is 200 hertz or less, then you're definitely going to want to look at a subwoofer. So you kind of get an idea. There's only really, if we were at, at an actual test pattern and we were back there and we had it at a, 100 dB and 98 dB, when we actually started playing music and we took a meter reading at it, we were more in the 80 dB range over there, to, between 80 to 90 dB. But over here, if we were going to go with the original number of saying 198, over here we were sitting at somewhere around 76 and 74. Now, that's only a difference of 2, but that's the difference as twice as loud. So when you get 30 feet away, in this test, we were able to go twice as loud with the 15s. Now, it's not a huge difference on the ears for me personally, but definitely different. Now, if you put, 20 people between here and the speakers and set them up a little higher, there's definitely going to be a noticeable difference because we've got density with people in between. People are like sponges. They just soak up the sound. So there you go. Hopefully this helps with knowing the difference between a 12 and a 15, and we'll take it back to the table. So if you're interested in any of the products that we've featured in this video, we'll have links down below for all of that. It's available in Canada, United States, and pretty much the rest of the world. So have a look at some of the links down below. Again, if you have any questions or comments, that's always a good place to put them. We try and get back to you when we can on that. And if you have subscribed, I want to say thank you very much. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. It's there for you to just give it a little push there, and there you go. It's all done. And if you really want to find out about our next videos, hit the bell button. Bell button's always there. I know a lot of people don't press it, but hey, give it a try. Press it right now. See what happens. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.